The Big Island of Hawaii is an island in continual creation. Its lofty horizon, having emerged from beneath the sea, owes its origin to unceasing subterranean storms. Far below its vast surface, these storms melt rock and squeeze the fiery torrent, boiling and boisterous, up and over the land. When cool and dry, this formula of inner earth hardens into a sculpted landscape. Smoke and snow is an unlikely combination in Hawaii, found only at extreme altitudes where the deep heat of Earth mingles with the frigid winds at Mauna Loa's summit. Black cinder cones, like the smoking barrel of a gun, have finished their task. But they have sent forth a constructive element: fertile ground. It's a young island, the youngest in the Hawaiian archipelago. Allegedly, the Big Island of Hawaii was the first landfall for the early Polynesians on their voyage northward. Valuable traces of their residence exist throughout the island. The King's Highway is one of them. Down this stone road walked the Hawaiian king who was born here, Kamehameha I. The petroglyph is a symbol carved in stone. These symbols were carved by Hawaiians, leaving an imprint of memory. Such brief symbols denote items of fundamental significance to the community. Sometimes the petroglyph portrays an object that also reveals an event. In this case, an event of intense and spectacular interest: the arrival of the European sailing ship. An early Hawaiian description called it a floating island with trees on it. The emergence of Captain Cook and later European explorers began and accelerated the pace of change in Hawaii. The surprise of the 18th century was quickened into the new desires of the 19th, a desire for the stately trappings of monarchy. The Hulihe'e Palace was a frequent residence of Hawaii's last king, David Kalakaua. New conceptions of rank and dignity arose, as well as belief. Ancient authority, the beacon of order, was undermined and unwillingly made way for other forms of command. But in this flux, where does tradition then live? While forms of order come and go, the arts remain. One enduring form of artistic tradition is the dance language of Hawaii. It tells an old story in human dimensions. What is the meaning of a place? A place where many feet walked and ran. Drums were often beaten here before. It is the place of refuge. Pu'uhonua o Honaunau, also a national park. Here, the vanquished and the lawbreaker could escape punishment and death. Today, Kumuhula George Naupe perpetuates a heritage by his chant and discussion. Dancer Lauren Mikihala Roy honors ancestral tradition with her performance.
The hula has survived because the hula is the language of the heart, and therefore the heartbeat of the Hawaiian people. These were the words of Hawaii's last king, David Kalakaua, who revived the hula and brought it back to Hawaii. As a Hawaiian, it's always a great honor for us to come before Hale'ukiawe and do the dances of our forefathers. Makaihi olea, the Maude Yada Ula, Nehula, Maiano, the Kapu, Koaka, Akalata, Avilata, Mamotua, Tunu, Ula Ole, Tale Hule, Taponole, Ata, Avina, Tiala Maine, Gopuka, Ukahale.
Artist Kathy Long is a recent immigrant to Hawaii. She has brought to the Big Island a pronounced curiosity of Hawaiian culture and a keen ability to heighten the details of her subject, giving her art a lifelike emphasis.
I worked a lot in color and still enjoy doing it, but I never let drawing alone. For one thing, it's a very easy medium. You can always take it with you, no matter where you are. You can be sitting in your living room at home, or you can be out on a rock. You don't have to bring a lot of things with you. You just put your pencil in your pocket, and you're ready to go.
Kathy observes how hula dancing influences the body.
It does not deform the body in any way. It only makes people more graceful. It makes them more fluid. And even though they work, I would assume, almost as much as somebody in ballet. You can always tell a ballet dancer, they look like a dancer, and you wonder why, but it's because the muscles get toned in a certain way that makes them look like a dancer. Someone that dances hula, you take them out of their costume, and they could be anybody on the street. But they always walk with a certain amount of grace, and I think that's what pulls me toward it.
Brett Weston is a photographer of international renown. His prints are on exhibit in contemporary museums on both sides of the Pacific and the Atlantic.
I love this part of the island as much as the high country around Volcano.
Here, he explains to fellow photographer Boone Morrison why he has chosen Waikoloa on the Kona coast as one of his homes.
They'll start creeping down in here.
Weston is a photographer who relies on natural light exclusively for his work.
Does subject matter as much as light?
They're both equally important, but without the proper beautiful light, one is helpless. You can't do a thing without beautiful light. It can illuminate it and make it exciting.
Weston believes in making himself available to the moment that contains his picture.
It's a rather an unconscious, intuitive thing. My eyes are instinctively always seeking and always looking. It's one's vision, you know. Boone, here's my new portfolio. Have a look.
Oh, I'd
Right
love
here.
to see it, Brett.
Some of my best work is here.
This is all Hawaii work.
All Hawaii, yeah.
Well, there's work from all over the Hawaiian Islands in here.
Well, several islands. That's on the Hamakua coast, in the Hilo area. I think one is born with some kind of strange vision or genius. You either have it or you don't. But I think 90% is environment.
You think we can get out today?
Let's do it. After a drink.
Good idea. Let's have a drink. A lot of people philosophize about their photographs.
It's not a verbal thing, it's a visual thing. And I just don't like to talk about it. I can enlighten students technically, but you can't explain imagery. I mean, composition is the strongest way of seeing. If my hair stands on end, if I get excited, then I somehow know it's right. But it's not an intellectual thing with me. It's just a very spontaneous reaction to beauty or form, design. Anyway, there are no rules of this. Because imagine if I followed your rules, somebody else's rules, wouldn't be your work.
No.
So I think art schools are the bunk. They're good for techniques, art schools. But that's all, as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. If they really have it, they'll go through hell and high water to just continue it, the way I did. You know, I starved for 40 years.
You've done almost no commercial
I
work.
couldn't compromise. Thank God. I'm not that kind of a person. I just have to do my thing, you know.
How many photographs have you taken, Brett?
I probably made 50,000 things that would be acceptable in books or whatever. But maybe 500 knockouts. Maybe that sounds egotistical, but I think there are probably 500 maybe that I would just say, well, this is it. Like this, you know.
We hear so much these days about so-and-so's negatives going to this museum and so on.
Not mine. I'll tell you exactly why, Boone. Because I don't want you or anybody else to print my negatives. If I let somebody else print my negatives, it's their work then, or it's no longer my work.
So you feel that your hands on that sheet of paper when it's wet, your judgment under that enlarger,
judgment,
that's it.
Of course, obviously.
Yeah.
A photographic negative is a very personal thing.
After all the years, don't you get tired of working?
Boone, no. It's a continual excitement and enthusiasm.
How long has it been? Over 50 years, yeah?
Boone is going on well over 60 years. I'm as old as God, as you know.
Well, close anyway.
Boy, this country is so beautiful, huh? Incredible. What you doing, Boone?
Well, I'm
African
just
tree?
playing around with the wind in this bush. It's dancing for me.
One is electrified. It's a matter of recognition. But this comes with experience, you know, and or maybe you're just born receptive. Some people are, most people are not. I think an artist, a painter, a musician, it's a full-time, lifetime job, you know, to do it superbly. Otherwise, you water things down if you do this and that and the other thing.
Brett Weston is the son of famed photographer Edward Weston.
We were like brothers. No rivalry, no sense of competition as far as I was concerned. We had very different vision. We were both influenced. He was influenced by Stieglitz, by other people, by painters, but we're all influenced. Picasso was. Then you add your own little thing, whatever it is, if you have something to add. But we're all influenced. We're just part of the stream, you know, part of the continuation.
Among its early settlers, Kona attracted the resourceful and the self-reliant.
Earlier settlers came coming to look for a place to live and made their living out of what they found here.
Sherwood Greenwell is a third-generation descendant of an early Kona settler.
There were no ties that brought them here. There were no businesses that brought people here to Kona. They came because they wanted to come here.
The Kona Historical Society was created in 1975 to protect symbols of the past.
One of the problems of the past was that no one saved anything.
Greenwell encourages the historical sense of preservation, even in those moments just past.
The past is yesterday. It's not 10, 20, 35 years ago.
The cowboy has a place in early Kona.
In the old days, they used to say that if you wanted to hire someone in Honolulu that you could depend upon, you always got a Kona person, because they were always hardworking and they were reliable.
Kona has long been known for its coffee.
Kona coffee can only be grown in one place, Kona.
It was first planted here in 1850, growing up to an industry by 1870. Today, it thrives. To Sherwood Greenwell, a life in Kona speaks to him from the soil that has supported his forebears.
The most important thing in my life is the land that we live on. My father spoke of the land as being not just a piece of soil, but a member of the family. And so every day I'm reminded of my past because of the land that I live on.
Living in this present moment of the past is aroused by family encouragement. But schools may also illuminate the hidden pathways of history by instruction in the ancient skills, such as chanting. Here, Mona Kahele and Diana Aki impart their knowledge of living history to youngsters.
I'm going to say the words to you. And you ho'opili. Aho nau nau au la. Aho nau nau au la.
The chant was very important to the Hawaiian people because it spoke of it told of events, important events that have occurred in families and genealogies in the Ali'i class.
Aho nau nau au la.
Aho nau nau au la.
The values of these chants that are taught here at school is to have a better understanding of what Hawaii was like in the early centuries, even before Kamehameha's time.
Ike kai, kai, ike kai, ike kai la. Ike kai la. Mahalo. We're going to try it now with some music. We're going to try it with some beat, okay? Okay? Makau-kau. O makau-kau? Ai, aho nau nau au.
The chant was composed by Diana Aki to render the children's environment vivid.
O makau-kau?
Ai, aho nau nau au.
I am at Honau now and see the sea. The road of Keawe filled with beautiful flowers. Bubbling waters of life is hidden in the sea. Visitors visit a place of refuge. Returning to the upland of Honau now with great pride. Tell the story of my love for Honau now. In honor of the children of Honau now. To some, the present moment of the past is always with us. To others, along the Kona coast, the immense spectacle of the present calls out for a treatment, an interpretation that brings the wild fringe of creation within an intimate sphere. Into a lustrous possession that comes a little closer to home. Kona is home to Wilfred Yamazawa. Kona is where the vastness and the forces of nature inspire his style of glassblowing.
Like the blacks and oranges are, I think, the strongest part of nature here on this island, you know, it's the volcanoes.
Learning his art through the University of Hawaii at Manoa, he returned to his native Kona to practice it.
As a child, I remember working really hard on the coffee fields. I didn't know it back then, but it was a good mental training for me, you know, because it's long hours of just tedious work. That's what I mean about the art process. I had to go through a whole unlearning stage. I had to forget all about mathematics, forget about English, forget about a lot of things, and learn about myself and my environment.
Learning more about the environment and ourselves is a significant part of the artistic process in a little Kona town called Holualoa. 20 years ago, Bob and Carol Rogers left the university life of the mainland behind.
We started with this idea in a dream and an old building.
When they were offered the old Mauna Kea coffee mill for their dream of an art workshop, the decision was made.
As soon as we opened the old building, people started to join us and become involved in arts and crafts.
And I think people are definitely more conscious of art forms than they were before. Now they realize that there's a green tree, but there are many greens in the tree.
Once a month we have Hawaiian crafts. We have enlarged our teaching and our education program. Consequently, many people can participate in many areas.
How many?
Another immigrant to the Kona coast is Jorge, the basket weaver.
I learned how to do this baskets long time ago. That's what we do in El Salvador, which is where I'm from.
Jorge specializes in baskets of a rare design woven from banyan root and aromatic pine needles. Nature is an inexhaustible source to this perceptive artist.
So much beauty, you see beauty everywhere, and not only in things, but also in people.
The Kona Art Center was a fulfillment of a dream for Bob and Carol Rogers.
Good friends, lunch is served. I know you're hungry. Jorge is not going to be first today. And would the nice guest step forward for lunch? And look at our beautiful table. Paul.
As the Kona day dims, another element brightens. It's people. Diana Aki is joined by members of her family in a hospitable setting where art and personal expression have found a home on the Kona coast.